how are you? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I'm coming alive as spring has finally sprung. And I can just feel it. I feel it, especially because it's tourist season. So I'm feeling extra pretty. Don't mind my hair. I just got it touched up and I had to get my sister to come help me actually because I can't really see the back. So I had her help me get it touched up. So she's kind of freshly bleached, to be honest. Normally my roots are not this white. But yeah. So in today's video, I want to catch you guys up on what I've been doing in the garden. And this will probably be the first little update of maybe a few. I plan on doing a few. So this will be the first update. I just kind of want to show you what I've been up to these past few months and where the garden is now, and then hopefully later in the spring or in the summer I can do another update and show you guys just how things are doing in the garden, you know? So really I need to take it back. Okay, let's take it back to when I first started my seeds. I made notes on my phone so that I could keep it moving, you know? I started my seeds, the ones that took the longest to germinate, which I think is like about 10 weeks out of the last frost date. So that for me ended up being January 29th. So around January 29th of this year, I started my first set of seeds, which were mostly, I think, just peppers, like bell peppers, hot peppers. Those take a very, very long time to not only germinate, but to like grow. They just grow very slowly. What I did to prep for the garden season was I took a look at all of my seed packets. I read about them, like on the back. I made notes about just about when things needed to be started. So really I had like a schedule of when I was supposed to be starting seeds. So the very first seeds got started on January 29th. And to be honest, looking back now, I think I need to start my peppers and my tomatoes earlier. I feel like I need to start them earlier just because one, I don't have a heating mat, and two, I don't have a growing lights. That's what they call them, like growing lights. Like I don't have that set up. I just started my seeds and set them near a big window in our kitchen. And honestly, that was enough light for them to germinate. However, they were like leggy. So seeds become leggy, which is just they develop this like long stem because, well, actually there's a few reasons which I learned. I thought it was only just because they're trying to reach for more light. The seedlings kind of extend themselves a little too much, and so they kind of flop to the side. That definitely happened with me, but it's because, again, like I don't have growing lights and I don't plan on getting them. I don't have the money for that and I don't have like space for that. So honestly, starting seeds by the window will do just fine. It's okay if I don't have like 100% germination rate, which I will say I had about, I want to say like 85% germination. What I struggled the most to get to germinate were some herbs, surprisingly, like St. John's wort, lemon balm, catnip, echinacea, like the purple coneflower. But that one I heard needs to be stratified or whatever, which I believe it means that the seed needs to like be cold or freeze before it can start its germination cycle. I don't know. You guys let me know if that sounds about right. But that might be why my echinaceas did not germinate, because I just put them in and then just left them there. But they might need to feel a cold temperature before they can germinate. Kind of like garlic, which I planted garlic, you guys, for the first time. I planted mine in the winter. I planted mine I made a note of it. See, I've been trying to get all my shit about like really writing down important dates or things that I do in the garden so that next year I can look back and like adjust. So for example, I started my seeds on January 29th. Now I'm thinking next year I'll probably start them earlier, which is crazy. But I just want them to be a little bit bigger by the time spring actually comes. Because right now, today is April 29th, and they're so small still. Like my tomatoes and my peppers, they're so small still. So, but I think that has to do with some of the other stuff I was telling you about like not having a heating mat, not having a grow light, and also going back to your seeds being leggy. So probably the thing that's most affecting your seeds when they're getting leggy is the fact that they're trying to reach for more lights. So I did not have a grow light. But apparently something that can also make your plants leggy is if it's being exposed to too much heat. So if you're using a heating mat and you're noticing that your plants get good and you have growing lights, maybe you're putting too much heat on them. So that could cause them to be leggy. And also underwatering your seedlings apparently causes them to be leggy. And I also had some issues with watering only because I did go on vacation. I went on a cruise for like an entire week and I had my sibling come and take my dog out and stuff while we were gone. But I don't think that's the seedling, and I told him about the seedlings, but I don't think that they just didn't get the attention that they needed. Pause. Y'all already know I live off the fucking highway, so don't even tell me about the cars going by. I'm sorry. I can't wait to move one day and not be this close to the fucking road. I think I definitely had some issues with watering my seeds while I was on vacation. I just don't think this was during a crucial time. They were still so small. I don't think they got the attention they needed throughout that whole week. So, and I don't blame that on my sibling. That's just, shit happens. Those are 3 things: the lighting, heating mats, and water can cause your seedlings to be all leggy. So yeah, I didn't know that. I knew the light part and I knew that was going to be an issue actually, but it's fine. It's fine. Going back to the garlic. So I planted garlic on November 27th of last year. They've been in the garden. I planted some in one of the beds and I planted some in a container. I think I want to say I did around like 30 cloves or whatnot. And these were just store-bought cloves. Unfortunately, when I went to go purchase my garlic online, they were like sold out. So I didn't get any from like official websites or anything. I just used the ones in my kitchen. So I use like big cloves. Make sure to go for the big cloves because if you plant big cloves, your other cloves that it grows will be just as big as that one. So make sure you're not planting like little itty bitty ones because they're not going to get any bigger than that. I think they're doing well. They haven't really bulked up a whole lot. I think I have 1 or 2 garlic plants that are kind of bulky, but the rest of them are fairly small. And you know what? I can't be mad at it. I cannot be mad at it because like this was my first time planting garlic just in general. So I'll be excited with whatever comes out of the ground. I've learned a lot in this year alone, and like honestly gardening season just started. I feel like there are like 3 phases of gardening. It's the prep, like seed starting and handling seedlings. That's a whole different skill set than like maintaining already existing plants in the garden, if that makes sense. So like you have your seed starting phase, and then you have your gardening phase, and then you have your harvesting phase and making sure that you're really just trying to preserve all your produce and everything you've taken out of the garden. Like that's a whole different, like preservation is a whole different skill set as well. So like that's like 3 different type of skill sets that kind of all marry into one. But yeah, I've learned a lot so far and we really just got started. Like it's still early spring. I planted 2 full trays, but I'm not gonna lie, only like 1 of those trays in terms of plants made it outside because I did have a lot of seedlings die, and I can't really be upset by it because I feel like that's just the nature of the game. When you start gardening, like you're not, unless you already know what you're doing, which I did not, I mean, it's just part of the learning curve. The fact that I even got a tray, like an entire tray of plants to take with me that made it to spring, it's good. Like I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I don't know, that's good. That I accomplished something. I am sad because I had these specific varieties that I wanted to plant outside but did not make it, and I'm really sad about it. Like specifically there was this like yellow jalapeno pepper. It's called a lemon spice jalapeno. The thing is that they did germinate. I just couldn't keep it alive. That also brings me to another thing. When it comes to my seeds, I learned that seeds have everything in terms of nutrients and whatnot in the seeds for it to germinate. But once it's done germinating, it needs to be, those seedlings need to be fed. Like it needs food and nutrients in the soil. So technically seed starting mix doesn't have to be nutrient dense, because if you're just trying to germinate your seeds have all all of what it needs inside the seed for the plant to germinate. Because that's one thing that I feel like my plants lacked and probably contributed to them not growing as fast or not growing as healthy, just that they lacked nutrients. And I did fertilize them. I used like a liquid fertilizer to like help them soak it up right away, but like I don't think that was enough. I think that the seed starting mix needs to have compost in it. So I'll probably do that next year. And like I said, lesson learned. I think at the time I was just also trying to rush because I was like, dang, like it kind of flew by. I blinked and it was like gardening season again, which I love, but it just kind of dawned upon me one day and I'm like, oh shit, I have to start my seeds. So I just ran to Target and I bought the first bag I saw, organic seed starting mix. And honestly, next time, I don't mind using that one, but I'll definitely mix in some compost and I'll probably sift it a little bit because it had like big chunks of wood in it. And I don't think that that's good for your seedlings because your seedlings are so like small and sensitive that I don't think that that was a good idea to put in big chunks of wood. So yeah, I planted my garlic. That's still going. I believe I can harvest it once all of the leaves have brown and sort of died, and then I can pull it. But now it's not the time. I think they go up until like late spring, if not summer. And then probably when I harvest that garlic, I'll do another succession of garlic planting. So here are some more updates in terms of just the garden and like the setup and stuff. I de-weeded the little herb bed that I've been trying to sort of control over the past two and a half years, and it's just been unsuccessful. So really what I had to end up doing, because it gets so much grass, it gets so much weeds, and it really just chokes out any herb that I try to plant. So what I did was, if I learned anything from my father who does landscaping for a living, or used to, I basically just took off that first layer of the herb bed, which was all just weeds and grass. And it also was too high up. The soil was too high up. And so when it would rain, the water wouldn't go into the bed. It would just sort of curve around and go down the pathway. So I removed that first layer on the herb bed and I made sure to pull out all the weeds. The whole soil is exposed at this point, right? Now we got this blank canvas, right? So what I did was I threw out a bunch of clover seeds. I had red and white clover seeds and I just sprinkled some of that out there. I also sprinkled some herbs that I'm trying to grow. I sprinkled some St. John's wort because I don't know if that's going to germinate, but I couldn't get that to germinate inside, so we'll see. What else did I sprinkle? I sprinkled some like button flowers, I believe they're called, the bachelor buttons flowers. Those are like edible flowers. And I also sprinkled some dill out there. That one does really well, just like if you toss the seeds. Right now, the herb bed has this little patch where a bunch of clover seeds have sprouted. I can tell what's grass and what's clover or what's anything else because it's like bare. So I have a ton of that growing, which is great. Clover, I don't know if it's the white or red one, but one of them is nitrogen fixing. So it brings in nitrogen into the soil. If I can get the clover to grow, that'll be really great because that will fight for space over the grass, which I don't want. I also planted a bunch of chamomile. Like I literally took like 3 packets of chamomile and just like sprinkled it everywhere. So we'll see if any of that germinates. I do have a bunch of seedlings germinating. I just don't know what is what. However, I can tell that the clover specifically has germinated. I can see it all over the place. So that's the herb bed. That's our in-ground herb bed. Honestly, me and these weeds been fighting each other for like 2 years. I feel like my best bet was just to start over and just kind of remove that first layer of grass and whatnot. So another update, we did buy 2 additional beds to put in the garden. They're like metal beds. So these are a lot deeper than our makeshift beds that we just kind of made with whatever we had laying around the house. So this year we did invest in 2 additional ones. They're a lot deeper and they're a lot bigger too. So these are the 2 beds that are right now housing all of our tomatoes and our bell peppers, the things that we want to take care of the most. That is what those new beds are holding. So in total, we have 4 beds. 2 of them are really nice metal ones, and then the other two are just very shallow kind of makeshift beds that I do. I mostly have like the leafy stuff in there. One of those beds has garlic in there, and the other bed has like lettuce and spinach and bok choy growing in it. So it has like more leafy stuff, like shallow stuff that doesn't require like deep roots or anything. And I also have my sugar snap peas, and just like my peas are growing up this trellis. So that's what I have over there. I also have some marigolds that self-seeded themselves. I'm glad that we have those two extra beds because the real estate, like I wouldn't have anywhere to put my tomatoes and bell peppers if I didn't have those two extra beds. So I'm glad that we invested into that, and hopefully with the depth of it, it'll do a lot better than last year. So I'm excited. I'm excited to work within these beds. In those beds, I also have carrots. I just sprinkled a bunch of carrots throughout the beds, and I have some nasturtium, and I have some snapdragons. What else do I have? Some cosmos. I put some cosmos that I started from seed. Some beautiful, beautiful cosmos. Some other, oh, I have zucchini in one of the other ones. I got a new blueberry bush, and I'm excited to keep that one alive. We put it in this big ass container so that one day if we move, I can just take it with me. And that is what I used one of those containers for. And then the other one, I put in like these really beautiful zinnias, these other flowers, and I just seeded a bunch of stuff in there. I can't remember what all I seeded in there, but I did. I planted a bunch of stuff, you guys, like a bunch of seedlings. One thing that I really fucking sucked at last year was fucking watering my plants, which is like essential. That is like the number one thing that you need for a thriving garden is water. The strawberry bed is going crazy. Like it has expanded so much from when I first put it out there. That's exciting to have like a little strawberry patch just like in the middle of the garden, just like near our little heart pathway. So I don't even know if I mentioned this to you guys. So in terms of the garden setup, this was like last year that we got these, but we got these little heart-shaped like path stones to put in the garden, and it's crazy because I have been envisioning a heart-shaped path for like forever, and I've seen it on Pinterest, and that was just something that I wanted to incorporate into the garden eventually. And I did look it up once upon a time, and I found some nice heart-shaped stones, but to get them delivered from California to Georgia would have been crazy expensive. So for a while I did give up on that vision, but I don't know how we found it, but eventually we found an artist or a man who does like custom pathways, like custom stone pathways. We found him on Facebook, like on the Facebook market, and you click through all his images because he has a bunch of different molds. Like he has some really beautiful ones like butterflies, like flowers, like anything you can think of, and boom, I saw hearts. So like I'm looking through these photos and I'm like, oh my god, this is it. And the crazy part is that he was local. Like he was a local in our city. That was really cool. And the price wasn't crazy or anything, so we ended up ordering, I want to say we have 10 stones, but we might get a few more just to like even out the pathway out there. And honestly, that has been one of my favorite things in the garden, and I really think it just pulls it all together, and I don't know, I really, really love it. I think it adds such a like cute, lovey, like love core, cottage core vibes to the garden that I really, really love. And yeah, they make me really happy every time I see them. The other element that we've added were 2 more arching trellises. In between the 2 very shallow makeshift beds, there was a trellis. We put that in last year, and that's where I had my cucumbers growing, my sugar snap peas, and just like all of the peas growing up that one. But we really wanted to add 2 more arched trellises to the garden. One of them is going over our iron garden table and our 2 garden chairs. So that's where we might sit and just kind of like relax in the garden or whatever. I wanted a trellis over that so that I could plant some stuff that would trellis over it every year. On both sides, I planted these really beautiful trellising flowers, and it's a perennial, so that should come back every year. And I also planted some morning glory because last year that was literally so stunning and so beautiful. That was my first time planting morning glory, which is an annual, but to be honest, it was so worth it because that one will trellis so beautifully. In the late summer and fall, you get these beautiful blooms, so I'm excited to sort of see that trellis get slowly covered. And then on the other one, the other trellis goes into one of the metal beds, and then on the other side, I think I'm gonna put a raspberry bush. So raspberry bushes need a trellis. Oh, and then our peach tree. Tell me why this peach tree. Okay, so it's only like a few years old and it's not big enough to produce a whole bunch of peaches. So tell me why we went out there the other day and it had so many like baby peaches on there. And I'm like, if you're in the early stages of your fruit tree establishing itself, so AKA it's only a few years old, it's recommended that you pick all of the fruit or at least majority of it off of the tree because the tree needs to focus its energy on establishing its roots and just growing. So unfortunately, we had to pick a bunch of peaches off of our tree, which made me really sad, but it's better for the tree. I did leave a few on there because I want peaches. It really didn't have any peaches last year or the year before that. It was too small. But this year, it just like, I don't know. It just was like a boom. Here we are. We picked the majority of the peaches off and they're just like all over the floor. And they were like this little, but I did leave a couple. So we'll see if those get big and really just come to fruition. So I don't know. We'll see if we get any peaches off of there. It needs at least another year before it can start producing a bunch of peaches. But as far as pruning it, I haven't pruned it. I don't know. I need to do my research, but for now it's fine. So there's also this area actually near the peach tree where I also sort of de-weeded it. So in that section, what I really wanted to do was just plant a whole section of sunflowers. So I went in and cleaned up that section and I planted a bunch of sunflowers, and honestly some of them already germinated, so that's exciting. I'm gonna show you, these are all like empty, but I want to show you guys the varieties that I planted. In my sunflower patch, I did mostly plant sunflowers, but I also, again, when you have exposed soil, you have to plant something. You can't just leave it bare because you will get weeds growing. You will get grass or weeds, or the stuff you don't want growing, it's gonna grow back. If I kind of de-weed a spot and it's very bare and the soil is exposed, I will try my best to plant something, whether that be wildflowers, because we have this big bag of wildflower mix, or clover seeds. So I have, like I said, the red and white clover. I try to spread that wherever I see those sort of bald spots because I don't want grass growing back. I don't have nice grass, you guys. I have the like very just like aggressive, like strong grass that like you think you can pull it by the root, but you can't. You need like a shovel to like shovel it that out basically. So yeah, I just don't, I'm not fucking with the grass. I really am not. The point is if you have soil exposed, you have to plant something there, whether that be, I don't know, a different type of grass, clover, plants, wildflowers, whatever it is, just plant something there because weeds will grow there instead if you don't plant something. With the sunflowers, I also planted a bunch of clover seeds to just kind of take up some of that surface area. I have just the classic sunflowers. This one's called a black Russian sunflower. Also, I love MI Gardener. If you're looking for seeds, I like to get most of my seeds from here because I feel like they're pretty affordable. I also got this variety. It's called Lemon Queen Sunflower, which like, I feel like this is meant for me. I love sunflowers, and sunflowers are associated with Leos. I'm a Leo, and just like sun energy, fire energy. So I don't know, it's like so me, you know? Last year I did grow sunflowers in a container, but again, the lack of watering fucking murdered everything. So I'm gonna do better about watering this year for sure. And I think part of the problem last year was that we needed a second hose. The other one we had only came up so much to the garden and I couldn't like reach most of the stuff, so I had to like just sort of spray from afar or take it in a watering can. But we're not doing all that extra work. We got a second hose, we attached it, and so I have plenty of length to go around and just water everything directly with the hose. So I'm gonna do better about watering. Got the classic yellow ones, right? And then I bought some like dark ones. The first one is this really beautiful like red and purple sunflower. And I got this Velvet Queen sunflower. It's another dark red sunflower. And then this one might be my favorite one just because it's so pretty. I don't normally see dark sunflowers like this. So this variety is called a chocolate cherry sunflower. Like, that is so beautiful. I can't wait to see these in person. And then with my sunflowers, I also planted some of this, some calendula. I would love to harvest some calendula if I get some. Oh, some of the other fun things too that I planted in some of the beds was this marshmallow plant, which you can eat the flowers, and then also obviously this makes really great tea. So in the herb bed, I currently already have oregano. I have like Italian oregano, Greek oregano. I have lemon thyme, which is doing really beautifully. It's like getting these like tiny little purple flowers on there. Stunning. And then I have a chive plant that is on its third year, and this is the first year that it actually bloomed. So it's getting these really beautiful like purple blooms at the top, and that is so exciting because if you know chives, like chives take like a couple years for them to establish itself and finally get these like really beautiful blooms at the top, which in fact are edible as well, of course. People make these really beautiful like chive vinegars with it, and it's like this beautiful lilac color because it's infused with that flower. It's so beautiful. I want to do that one year, but this year the bulbs are just too small still, so maybe next year. But I am excited to see it finally bloom. Like I said, in the herb bed I planted some St. John's wort. We'll see if that fucking germinates. I also planted anise. So this is what star anise comes from, and this is a perennial. So I use a lot of star anise in like cooking, so you can also use it in your witchcraft. I planted some dill, of course, and I did that last year, so like direct sowed it, and that one germinated just fine. So I have faith that that one will come up. And then I also planted some fenugreek. Oh, I wanted to show you all the daisies that I planted. How stunning is this? So I started some daisies from seed, and they actually made it to the garden. And these are a perennial, I believe, and they will come back year after year. So I'm excited. I also planted this in one of the containers, and it's just these beautiful little flowers that sort of cascade over the container. And honestly, this is like nothing. I bought so many seeds, and now I'm trying to think. I also started some hollyhock, which is just essential for a cottagecore garden. I bought these two varieties, which I feel like really speaks to my personality, but so you got this really beautiful pink, white, and red one. These plants get very, very tall, and they sort of have like these flowers on them. So they have this one long stem, and then they have these like flowers all over them. And then this variety, which is a dark velvet one, it's definitely giving goth. This one's called the Watchman, and this one's called Outhouse. These I started from seed, and they actually made it outside. So I did plant them in certain areas, so I know where they are. It's funny because in my garden I do have elements of like sort of darkness, but I also have elements of just like really cute and pink and like cottagecore vibes. So I kind of like the mix of the two though, because I have these really beautiful like black velvet petunias, and they're stunning. I had some last year and I had to get some more because they're annuals, so I had to repurchase them. Oh girl, I also planted these sunflowers, Vanilla Ice. So they're these really sort of like pale looking sunflowers. And then let me show you the cosmos. These cosmos I also started from seed, and they made it outside. So I have seashell blends and apricota. So they're these beautiful little like peachy pink cosmos. The seashells one is just a mix of these white and pink cosmos. I planted these within the metal beds where the tomatoes and the bell peppers are gonna grow. I'm someone who likes to maximize their space, whether that be fill it with, you know, carrots or edible flowers or just pretty flowers. So I definitely maximized my space in my beds. I'm sort of like the type of gardener that likes everything intertwined and not isolated. Oh, I also bought these black hollyhocks that I also planted. So I'm excited to see that. Like I said, the like gothic witchy versus the darling cottagecore, pink cottagecore vibes in the garden are just so apparent. And I love it though, because I feel like it works together. It just speaks to the gardener, aka me. Oh, I planted these morning glory flowers. Beautiful. And then these varieties I thought were stunning. I'm excited to see this. I still have, here are my clover seeds. I still have some to sort of sprinkle around if I need to. Here it is. Here are the two nasturtiums that I planted. See? And then these like sort of black velvet ones. I tried to grow them last year and they didn't get very big. I never really even saw a flower, so I'm gonna try to get some flowers out of that one. And these are the bachelor's buttons that I was talking about. These are edible. Oh, another thing I planted in one of the beds was borage. I did have this germinate on me, but it did also die. So I replanted it or reseeded it in one of the beds. These are edible flowers, and I don't know, I was trying my best to grow stuff that I could eat, and these flowers are all so beautiful, and the idea of having like beautiful little edible flowers on your plate or a salad just sounds so beautiful. Oh, I also planted cumin in the herb bed. I've never planted cumin before, so I'm excited to see what this is, you know, what this is about. And just let me show you a few more. I planted some radishes, some cucumbers. Oh, okay. So I did plant this really pretty bean bush. So it's this one. And it has like these really beautiful flowers. I also planted these snap peas, and they're called sugar magnolia, and they're these really beautiful like purpley pods, and they bloom flowers too. They've already sprouted, they just haven't produced anything yet, but they're doing really well. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry, I'm just like looking through all my seeds and I'm like remembering everything that I did. I also started some butterfly milkweed. These two made it out into the garden, but unfortunately the pink one did not. So these two actually made it out, and I think the pink one either never germinated or it died, I can't remember. But even still, I'm excited to have butterfly milkweed, and it likes full sun to part shade. That is something as a gardener that you have to pay closer attention to when it comes to whether they like part shade or full sun. Because last year I bought a hydrangea. This was like my second hydrangea. I planted them in 2 locations, 2 different years, and they still died. And then I'm realizing it's because when they say they like part shade to full sun, no. They prefer part shade. Like hydrangeas thrive in the shade. And it's just taken me the 3rd year to realize that I should probably just have it in the shade. Like fully in the shade. Because last year I had one that was like in the middle of part shade and full sun. I think it gets so hot here in Georgia that I think it just needs to be in the shade, and I think it's gonna thrive much more in the shade. I just bought this beautiful pink hydrangea, and I think I'm gonna put that in a container. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna put it in the ground because it's so pretty, and hydrangeas are so expensive that I think I just want to put it in a container, have it on the patio, lol. It's like nothing, but have it right outside the door and like have it in a nice big container. I think it will thrive right there in the shade. Well, lastly, I just kind of wanted to show you guys. Oh, so I did have tomatillos sprout, but they did not make it outside, and I'm really sad. So if I see one at Home Depot, I will definitely be getting some, but unfortunately I don't think these are very common. So, but if I see one, I'll get it. I like went to Home Depot the other day. They did not have tomatillos, so I'm sad that that did not make it this year, but that's okay. You live and you learn, you know. So I bought these seeds, and these are Thai peppers, and I love Thai peppers and I love cooking with them, but it kind of sucks to go all the way to a farmer's market just to get them. So I wanted so badly to have my own Thai pepper plant. Like that was actually like a goal of mine, and unfortunately I already failed at it. I think they did germinate, but they did not make it. I will try again next year, but like I just said, I went to Home Depot the other day and they had Thai peppers. Normally like Home Depot and like Lowe's, they have like very basic varieties of tomatoes, bell peppers, just hot peppers. I never see Thai peppers. So the fact that I saw they had like a tray of Thai peppers, I was like, wait, let me get one. So I grabbed me one. Sorry, I'm at you right here. I grabbed me a Thai pepper plant, and I'm excited again. I thought I wouldn't have one for the season, but I'm at least happy that I was able to purchase one from the store. But it would have been cool to have it grow from seed. I can try again next year. Oh, I'm also growing banana peppers. I started some banana peppers from seed. They made it. I had a poblano pepper make it to the garden. This is the lemon spice jalapeno pepper that I was telling you about that also made me sad that was dying, or that died. Look how cool that looks. This would have been so cool to grow, but next year I can try again. I can try again on these two next year. All of the stuff I'm about to list out, I started from seed, and they successfully made it outside. Even though they're not big or whatever, they're still small. It's okay. I'm still proud of them. And hopefully now that they're in the ground, they can really start to thrive and hopefully grow a lot more. So what did I have? I had like one poblano plant. I had banana peppers. I had sweet bell peppers. I had serrano peppers. I had Roma tomatoes, like these Italian Roma tomatoes. The Moneymaker tomatoes, Gardener's Delight, Early Girl, which is a tomato variety. Basil, obviously, I love basil. I planted some basil from seed. Two of the really fun variety of bell peppers that I planted were these Jamaican yellow mushroom peppers. I tried my best to get this to germinate last year, and it did not. It did not germinate. However, this year, this sucker made it out. It made it out into the garden. So like that is a win for me. That is a plus for me. I'm not sure if this is like a hot pepper or like a bell pepper, but either way I'm excited. And then this beautiful bell pepper that I also successfully grew and is out in the garden now. And it's just the most pretty looking gothic bell pepper ever. It's like this almost like chocolatey velvet bell pepper, and I'm excited to have this. And it's out in the garden, it's growing, so we'll see if I get any harvest out of it. The next thing I'll probably plant here soon is pumpkins. I really want to try and grow pumpkins for Halloween season, and if I can grow an abundance of it, that would be fucking cool. That's got to start getting going for October. So yeah, those were all of the sort of more exciting seeds. I planted a much more than the stuff I showed you. I really just wanted to show you guys some of the more fun things that I planted, for sure. Can you guys believe it's already it's about to be May? That's so crazy. That's also part of the reason why I needed to update you guys, because we're really moving right along. And right now, all of my seedlings are very small, but you know what? They've come a long way. And right now, I've planted almost everything that I started from seed, that I bought at the store. I feel like we're really on it this year, and I'm really happy about it. And I think part of that is because I started planning for the garden in like January. We're really on track, and I don't know, I just really wanted to share with you guys. Planning has helped a lot. It's helped me keep myself like from feeling overwhelmed in terms of all of the stuff that I need to be doing when it comes to gardening. But this sort of like helped me section it off in my brain, like, okay, right now you just need to focus on seed starting. Right now you need to focus on like garden maintenance. I'm so excited to show you guys my gardening journey and what comes of it, and then also like how that's gonna translate into my cooking. If we get a fucking abundance of food, that would be so awesome. I still have yet to experience that in the garden. This is only my 3rd year gardening. This is something I definitely have to work towards, but I ain't even gonna lie, like I'm happy with my progress. I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. I hope that you guys are excited to see my garden journey and just kind of just watch me do my thing, I guess. As I'm getting more into it and sort of learning as I go, I'm definitely becoming more comfortable with talking about gardening, because before I was like, I don't really even know what to say because I like don't even know what I'm doing. I think this is one of those topics that I just really love to talk about, to show you guys. I'm having a blast so far, I think. It's a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some days where I'm just out there in like some bum clothes and it's a workout. It really is. Before I go though, I wanted to show you guys two Sanrio things that I purchased recently, and they're so cute. I obviously have to show you guys. So the first one is this cute little My Melody Pop with the little flower. I had to get her. It's My Melody and it's an Earth Day collaboration with Box Lunch. I don't normally buy pops, like that's just not my go-to. I have a few that I've sort of collected over several years, but I saw the My Melody one and I had to get her, especially for Earth Day. Like, come on. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys was this Pom Pumperine like blind box or blind item, and these are all the ones that it comes with. And you guys are never gonna believe the one I pulled. It's so cute. Like, I die. Hello? He's eating like honey, and then he's a little bee, and then he has his little wings on the back. Like, how fucking cute. I love him so much. Like, look, a little chunk. So fitting, like with the garden. He's a little honeybee. I feel like this is Sanrio meets gardening girly. This is me right here for Earth Day, and then a little honeybee. There's one where he's an omelet, like some sort of pudding, and then the sunflower one would have been really cute too. And then there's this like pumpkin one that is also adorable. But like the honeybee one, that one's so cute. I was so happy when I pulled it. Anyway, that's it. That's all. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.